Well, I feel a little bit better about my picking prowess, somewhat, after last week going 12-4. To be fair, I thought it was a little bit of an easier week to pick, but 12-4 is still 12-4, and hell, I'll take it. No 8-8s or 9-7s, nothing like that. 12-4. If I could do that every week throughout the course of a season, I'd look like a genius. But it changes by week to week in the NFL. Now we're on week 14 of the 2013 NFL season. When I look at this week's slate of games, there are a lot of games that I really look at and I say, I'm going to pick a certain way and I'm either going to look like a genius or I'm going to look like a complete dumbass. I don't get a good feeling about my picks this week, frankly. That could mean that I get 12 or 13 right, or that could mean I get 9 or 10 wrong for all the hell I know. Let's get started with this. You've got the Thursday night matchup. The woeful 2-10 Houston Texans traveling to the 3-9 now. All of a sudden, Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars actually playing an okay brand of football over the past few weeks. This is a team I give Gus Bradley and his staff a lot of credit for after that rough start early on in the year and everybody just assuming they're going to be the worst team in the NFL, and understandably so. They've stuck with it. They haven't given up, and they've played strong the past few weeks. And I know I said before that I would not pick the Houston Texans to win another game this year, and I really want to mean that. But once again, because I'm an idiot and I don't fucking learn my lessons, for whatever reason, I'm picking the Houston Texans to win on Thursday night. I don't know if the Jaguars are that good where they could win yet another game. I'm not fully sold on that. Moving on to the Sunday afternoon games, the Oakland Raiders travel to New York to take on the not very good New York Jets. 4-8 versus 5-7. Really, this to me is kind of a pick 'em matchup either way. We could argue that Oakland has a better quarterback play, which would usually suggest that you would pick that team. But the Jets are playing at home. The Raiders are coming off of a tough loss against the Cowboys on Thursday night, on Thanksgiving night last week. So I'll take the New York Jets. Maybe Geno Smith has a better game if they even start him this week. The Indianapolis Colts and their 8-4 record travel to Cincinnati to take on the also 8-4, I believe, Cincinnati Bengals. This is a very good matchup here. This is the type of team that would seem prime for the picking for an Indianapolis Colts team that earlier on in the season, remember, beat teams such as the Denver Broncos, the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers. While this Colts team over the past several weeks has not looked like that Colts team early on in the year that looked like a real deal legit Super Bowl contender, that potential and that possibility is still there for the Colts. I am, however, going to play it safe. You look at the Colts, they've got a 3-game lead in their division. They could almost kind of coast at this point to a divisional crown and a playoff appearance. They have struggled since Reggie Waynes went out. They've looked like a shell of their former selves, the same team, like I said, again, that beat the 49ers on the road, that beat the Denver Broncos at home, and beat the Seattle Seahawks at home. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals. Key matchup in the NFC, the first place in the NFC North, Detroit Lions traveling to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are in a tie for first right now with the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC least. This is a good matchup. A couple of 7-5 teams. This is a game that I'm going to be watching on Sunday, no question about it, especially with my Bears playing Monday night. I'm going to take the Eagles here. They've won a couple of games now at home after losing like 9 in a row at home. The Lions have had some bad losses this year, a couple of losses over the past few weeks on the road. So I'll take Philly in this matchup. I'll take the Steelers over the Miami Dolphins because I think they may rally and respond to all the criticism that Mike Tomlin's getting. It might be a rallying cry for that locker room. I'll take the Patriots over the Browns. Not much more needs to be said about that. The Chiefs, after starting off 9-0, have lost 3 in a row, but thankfully for them, they're playing a terrible team in Washington in the Redskins, who are now 3-9. Give me the Chiefs. They'll rebound. They'll respond because the Redskins suck. I'll take Baltimore over Minnesota. I will take Green Bay over Atlanta, even though I hedge a little bit, especially if Aaron Rodgers does not come back into the lineup this week. The fact of the matter is, yes, the Atlanta Falcons did just beat the Buffalo Bills up in Toronto last week, but the Bills aren't exactly a great team, and the Falcons are still a bad team, so I'll take the Packers finding a way to win. I'll take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home over the Buffalo Bills. Like I said, other than last week where they got kind of steamrolled by the Panthers, who's steamrolling a lot of teams right now, the Bucs have played a good brand of football over the past month plus. They're playing better than the Bills. I'll take the Bucs here. I'll take Denver over Tennessee. They're undefeated at home. I would expect it to stay the same. I'll take Arizona over St. Louis. They'll get some revenge for St. Louis beating them in the opening week of the season in St. Louis. I'll take the Chargers over the New York Giants. I will take the Seattle Seahawks over the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know that the Seahawks have like a 3-game lead in their division, and they're steamrolling their way to home field advantage throughout the playoffs in the NFC, which is the worst thing anybody in the NFC wants to see. And you might sit there and say, well, the San Francisco 49ers have got to beat them once. Man, I'll tell you what, at this point, yeah, the Seahawks are not the same team on the road that they are at home. They almost lost to the Texans on the road this year. They did lose to the Colts on the road this year. Um, Bottom line is the Seahawks look so damn impressive in so many different facets of the game. I just have trouble envisioning the 49ers beating them this week. The Sunday night matchup is a really good one. The Carolina Panthers taking their 8-game winning streak to the Superdome to take on the New Orleans Saints, who just got finished getting absolutely hammered on Monday night against the Seahawks. Looking at this matchup, the Superdome is a tough place for opposing teams to come in and play. The Saints are undefeated there this year, but I do think the Carolina Panthers and the brand of football that they play is perfectly suited to win on the road in New Orleans. So I am going to take, you might say it's a bit of an upset. It may not be. I am going to take the Carolina Panthers over the New Orleans Saints because I ultimately believe, as I've said before, I predicted at the beginning of the season, I felt the Carolina Panthers were the best team in this division, that they were going to win the division, and I stand by that, and I think they pick up a huge marquee victory here in week number 14. The Monday night matchup, this one has me torn a lot because the Cowboys are heading one way. They've won a couple of games now in a row, and they're 7-5. They're sitting good in the NFC least, whereas the Bears are scuffling. They've lost a couple of games. They're sitting at 6-6 with no real feasible path to the playoffs in terms of the wild card. They have to hope that they win out and the Lions lose 2 of their last 4 games in order for the Bears to be able to get into the playoffs. It's a very tough road to hoe and almost seems like it's not possible for them to make it. That's the way I look at it at this point. The Bears have had some recent success against the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams' defenses are boo-boo, in particular the Chicago Bears defense, who can't stop anybody's rushing attack. You would hope and assume and think if you're a Cowboy fan or you own DeMarco Murray on your fantasy team that he would get 20 or 25 carries in this game because that's the formula to beat the Bears now. Just run the football, pound the shit out of them. They can't stop your running game. Why throw the ball 40 or 50 times? But it's hard to pick the Dallas Cowboys too because frankly, you feel like a lot of times their coaching staff is very moronic and their play calling is very idiotic and doesn't seem to match what they need in terms of the context of the game. So they'll probably throw the ball with Romo 35 or 40 times when they should be running the ball 30 to 35 times in this matchup. I am going to take the Chicago Bears at home. They're still a good team at home. Now I would hedge on this pick if Jay Cutler came back into play week 14. Then I might just take the Dallas Cowboys. But I will stick by my Bears. It's not necessarily a slight on the Dallas Cowboys because I do think the Cowboys right now are a better team than the Chicago Bears. But this is also the type of matchup on a Monday night against a Bears team they struggled against in the past couple of matchups that seems ripe also for the Cowboys to lose, especially if they run DeMarco Murray early and then go away from it and try to pass their way to victory. That's not going to be the formula of success. Run the ball repeatedly, continuously, and the Cowboys will win. I don't think they will, and that's why I'll take the Chicago Bears. Let me know your picks down in the comments section below. 12-4 last week. If I go 12-4 this week, I'm going to be really happy because I really had trouble picking a lot of these games, frankly. I really did. So we'll see what happens.